Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. In today's video we're going to be working on Rouse again. Like I said in the last video, what we're going to be doing to it, I'll show you here real quick. So up here I've got my gearbox rebuild kit here and transmission filter and gasket here. The transmission pan is leaking on the blue truck, and the gearbox up at the steering shaft is leaking. So I'm going to take, the first thing I'm going to be doing is I'm going to take the gearbox off of the truck, and we're going to completely rebuild the gearbox on the truck. Then we're going to get that back on, and then we're going to be changing the transmission filter and replacing the gasket on the transmission pan. Alright, so there you guys, there's the gearbox down there, guys. You can see how wet the gearbox there is. That's what we're going to be rebuilding it for. So the first thing I'm going to be doing is I'm going to take that windshield washer tank off right here, just so that way I can get to the gearbox easier. And then I'm going to jack the truck up and put it up on jack stands, because the gearbox will have to come out from the bottom, and I'll have to take the pitman arm off. So fixing to take that washer tank off. I think it's just 2 bolts holds it on and a plug in. That should be super easy to get off. And then we're going to jack it up, and I'll probably take this driver's front wheel here off just to make it easier for me to get in there, because I think that hole back there will be make it easier for me to get to work on the gearbox. So that's what I'm going to do real quick, and then I'll come back. Alright, so I got the truck up on the jack stand, got the driver's front wheel off, and I took the washer tank here off. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to hold off on taking my lines off till I get everything down underneath, so that way I don't get soaked. But under here, the next thing I'm going to do is under here where this pitman arm attaches there to the drag link, I'm going to take that loose, get it loose from the pitman arm there, and then I'm going to go ahead and break all of my gearbox bolts loose that hold it to the frame. And then after that, we'll worry about what's up top and the pitman arm. But I'm going to go ahead and get all that done there, and then I'll come back. This gearbox has been leaking so long that I'm having to take my chisel here and scrape just years and years of junk off of this frame to try to find my bolt. The gearbox, I think, has got 3 bolts. Don't really know. That's how many I've seen. So out of those 3, I'm trying to still find one because it's buried in crud. Half hour later, I finally got the gearbox loose. I'm going to show you so that way if you're doing this, you don't have to spend half hour like I did. But you got a bolt here, you got a bolt here, and then you got to take this bracket loose because they put the other bolt behind it. So you got to take the brake line bracket loose, and then that'll get your 3rd bolt. So if you're searching like I was, that's where it's at. But next, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take my rag joint loose up top there, so that way the gearbox will be completely free from the truck. And after I get that there done, I'm going to take both power steering lines off the gearbox, and then after that we should be good to try to bring it out the bottom. So I'm gonna go ahead and work on that, and then I'll come back to you guys. All right, so hopefully I've got everything unattached from the gearbox there. So I'm going to be trying to take it out now from the bottom. I'm gonna try to leave the pitman arm on there and take it off whenever I get it from another truck. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to or not, because I don't have a pitman arm puller. I've just got like a 3-jaw puller, so hopefully it'll be easier whenever I get it out. But I took both of the power steering lines here off. I took both nuts loose from the rag joint and this brake line clip thing here that was a pain to get out. I finally got it off. I got all 3 bolts out, and I've got the pitman arm unattached from the drag link. So hopefully that'll be enough to get the gearbox out. So I'm fixing to try to finagle it out as best I can out the bottom. Hopefully it'll come out the bottom, because if not, I don't think it will come out of the top up here. I don't think there's no way because of the brake booster. But I'm gonna try to take it through the bottom, so wish me luck. Alright, so we finally got the gearbox here out. Going through the bottom did not work, so I had to pull it from the top because the exhaust was in the way, because this truck's got a 460 and the exhaust just runs right in the way. But I just had to take, all I did was I had to take my power steering cooler loose from the frame, and then I took the pressure line off of the power steering pump, and then that just come right out. I had to push my brake lines over, it come right up. Easy, super easy. So fighting with it through the bottom was just a waste of time, but it's okay. You gotta learn. So now the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take it outside and I'm going to spray it down with brake cleaner and brush it with a brush, try to get most of the nastiness off, so that way hopefully maybe I can paint it before I put it back on, so that way it looks a little bit better. So I'm fixing to pack that out there. I'm not gonna show me cleaning on it because it's really nasty outside. As you guys can see, we've got like 5 inches of snow, so I'm not gonna take my camera outside. So I'll just come back whenever I get it all cleaned up, and then we'll be starting on the rebuild. All right, so I got the gearbox here all cleaned up there, and I went ahead and we loosened up the pitman arm nut here. So I'm fixing to mark it here. I'm just gonna take a center punch and drive a dot on the shaft here and the pitman arm, so that way whenever we put it back on the truck, it'll all line back up, so that way my steering wheel's not way off. So now, like I said, I'm fixing to do that, and then after I get the dots made on the pitman arm and the shaft, I'm gonna pull off this the pitman arm here, and then I'm gonna be putting in this seal here and this seal here. That's all we're gonna be doing. We're not gonna be completely taking the gearbox all the way apart, because after I got it all out of the truck, not everything's leaking like I thought it was, just the bottom seal and mainly the seal here where the steering shaft goes into the gearbox there. So those are the only 2 seals we're gonna be putting in the box. So I'm fixing to get to pulling the pitman arm off, and then I'll come back. All right, so the first thing we're gonna do here on the gearbox is I'm gonna put the seal here in the bottom here. I gotta take this snap ring here out. I don't know if you guys can see the snap ring. I think you can see that ear there. But I'm gonna take the snap ring out there, and then the seal should just come off. I've gotta clean this shaft here up, and then I'm gonna be pulling the seal off, and then we'll be figuring out how to get the seal out. I'm not 100% for sure how to get the seal out just yet, but you guys are gonna be learning with me, so we're gonna get to trying to get that out. All right, so we finally got the old seal here out, and then it had a metal washer on top of it there, and I got the snap ring out a while ago, and then I took this off pulled this out with a magnet, and then we had to take and Dad drilled a drywall screw through it there, and then got underneath it and pulled it back out, so you can see here the inside there where it's out there. And then I've got my new seal here ready to go in, so we're fixing to get to prepping this new seal here to go in, and then we'll be putting it in. Alright, we got seal here number 1 finished, so now we're going to be moving on to this seal here. By the looks of it, it just works the exact same way that the other one does, so we're going to be tearing down that, and then I'll come back and let you know. Alright, got this seal here out. Got right here, got our new seal here. Got our new, which this is old snap ring there, and then I got the new dust cover here. I'll be driving all that back in. This side works exactly like the other side, just a seal, snap ring, dust cover. And I found the dust cover in the kit too for the other side. So we'll drive the other dust cover in, and then that's gonna wrap up the resealing the gearbox. Alright, so I got the gearbox is done now. Got this seal and dust shield here all back in. Same way with this one here. So now, fixing to put the pitman arm there back on from where we marked it the other day with our dots there. So that way we know where it goes. That way steering ain't off real bad. So we're gonna be putting the pitman arm back on, and then it's going back on the truck. Alright, so we got the gearbox here back on the truck there, and then got everything hooked back up, completely hooked back up. So I'm fixing to fill it up with fluid and start it up, and hopefully no leaks, because that would be wonderful. But I got everything, like I said, hooked up. I put the bolts back in the steering column there, put both hoses back up, put the gearbox bolts back in, and hook the pitman arm up on the bottom. So I'm fixing to put fluid in it and then check for leaks. Alright guys, got everything back together. Everything's looking good and dry. Under the hood, underneath. And the freeze plug here, I'll show you. In there, it looks good and dry. So, looks like we've got all of my leaks fixed. The transmission filter, I'm just gonna let it be its own video, because what I'm actually gonna do is I'm gonna take it to work, drive my truck to work Saturday, and I'm gonna put the kit on at work, because we got a lift there. It'll be much easier to show you guys. I'll take my camera down there and I'll show you guys how to do it, and it'll just be much easier to do down there. Could be much more convenient for me, and hopefully it'll be better film quality for you guys. So that right there is gonna wrap up today's video. I want to thank everybody for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next video.